r/AskReddit. What are some not fun facts? For generations, the indigenous peoples of South America used blow darts laced with paralytic plant extract to hunt their prey. In the 1800s, English physicians who interacted with these indigenous South Americans recognized the possible uses of this paralytic agent, now known as tuberculin, as an anesthetic agent for surgeries. Physicians noticed that animals under the influence of tuberculin would become temporarily immobilized but would recover after a period of paralysis. According to these physicians, this discovery would revolutionize surgery as an anesthetic agent. So confident were they in their discovery that one of the physicians volunteered to undergo surgery under the influence of tuberculin to demonstrate its effectiveness. Unfortunately, he failed to realize that, although the drug was an effective paralyzing agent, it did not have any effect on the sensory receptors of the body, so he felt every cut of the surgery without being able to move or do anything about it. Double quote. MCAT Biology. If you shine a flashlight smartphone on a newborn sea turtle for too long, which could be only minutes, it will start crawling around in circles, known as the ring of death. It means that the turtle's eyesight has been permanently damaged due to mistaking your lights for the moon that guides it to the sea. By doing this, you have doomed the sea turtle to death right after birth. It's really sad that this is even a known thing. Poor turtles. Cities are super bad for sea turtles because they are full of bright lights which confuse them. Horses can't throw up. If they need to throw up, they'll die. Oh man, that grass was ass dies. R.I.P. Bojack Horseman. Crabs eat their babies and sloths can die from starvation with a full stomach. Gingivitis is contagious. This is exceptionally gross. Well yeah, kissing equals sloshing each other's oral bacteria around, partially to establish immunocompatibility, partially to get the juices flowing. Heroin overdose is so prevalent and dangerous because of how fast tolerance bounces back. So let's say an addict gets arrested and is in jail for a few days, weeks, whatever. If they're a heavy user, even half the dose they last used could kill them. There is a whale called 52 Blue who sings at such a strange frequency he is unable to communicate with other whales. Sharks eat their siblings before birth equals there can be only one. There are 100 of them on average. It's the first battle royale. When it comes to heart disease, the very first symptom in roughly 1/3 of all cases is sudden death, meaning you could be perfectly healthy and drop dead because you had heart disease and didn't know it. Check your family history, people. Yup, my old man was 64, ate healthy, ran every day, had an old guy six-pack, didn't drink or smoke, and loved his job. One day he just literally fell over dead. Silent ischemia. Criminals that are considered unattractive usually receive a 50% longer jail time than attractive criminals. Everyone probably knows this one, but the original voice actor for Ducky in the Land Before Time series was murdered by her father and then he torched the body. I believe her tombstone has Ducky on it as well as one of her lines from the movie. It's been a while since I read about it. Brain aneurysms can happen at any time in your life and you won't know until day I learned it's too late or if a doctor accidentally finds it. My cousin had his first brain aneurysm at 23 in 2003. Week prior complained of headaches, was taking hot shower and collapsed. Made a flight to hospital and the docs operated on brain and managed to save him. Told us he'd be like a little kid for rest of life. He managed to make a full recovery within 5 years, learned to walk, talk again. Everything, it was amazing and unimaginable at the same time. Only reminder was the scar on his head. He had his second and fatal brain aneurysm in his sleep at age 36 in 2016. No symptoms this time. He was always living on borrowed time. Just glad we got an additional 13 years with him before he left us for good. What symptoms would cause a doctor to accidentally find an aneurysm? Edit. Thanks for the answers. If it makes you feel any better, I complained of headaches for about 3 years and no one thought to give me an MRI. Then I had a brain aneurysm pop and now I get one every year. They're not always as bad as people think. I'm more or less fine bar crippling headaches, memory problems and lots of other weird shit, lol. Some dogs have to get their anal glands squeezed by veterinarians or their owners if too much fluid gets stuck in them. Dogs usually help themselves with the issue though, by pooing or rubbing their butts on the floor. And if your dog isn't the type that drags their butt on your carpet to let you know things are getting backed up, the glands can abscess and explode. Then for a few weeks it looks like your dog has 2 buttholes. This happened to my cat earlier this year. It was very gross. Oh lord, this was a bad thread to go through while eating. Forensic investigators love people with tattoos. It makes their job so much easier. Cowgirl. Reverse cowgirl position is the most common reason for a man's penis to break. So, asking for a friend who happened to get lucky, what's a broken penis supposed to look and feel like exactly? Bent and painful. Know any good hospitals while you're at it? No, I have never felt the pain of a broken penis, so I don't need hospitals, but good luck in your search for a penis surgeon. Some whales, when old, no longer have enough strength to swim for as long. So if they swim too deep, they might not have enough strength to swim back up to get air, so they end up drowning. Edit. Some people smarter than I have pointed out that they technically don't drown, but instead suffocate from the lack of air. This is apparently because whales have to manually breathe instead of it being done automatically. And their death creates a whole new ecosystem like meaty dead coral reef brimming with life. On the topic of dead whales, whenever they die and their bodies reach the surface, they will eventually explode like a balloon. The reason they reach the surface is the same as why they blow up: gas buildup. Then they sink and provide food and shelter for thousands of tiny creatures. Musical note: the CIEIEICL of Leif. Musical note. Babies can die after consuming honey. The botulinum toxin, like the one in Botox, will paralyze their muscles, causing floppy baby syndrome. Edit. To clarify, the bacterial spores, basically a super resistant sleepy form of the microbe, are in the honey, not the actual toxin. After going into the human, they start the party and produce the toxin. They really should have named that something else. Weenie Hut General. Hedgehogs can get a disease called wobbly hedgehog syndrome, which is an adorable name for hedgehogmies. The sun occasionally lets out supermassive bursts of plasma energy called coronal mass ejections. These could knock out our satellites, power grid and internet for decades. One barely missed us in 2012, and another has about a 10% chance of happening in the next 10 years. I've also heard though that we can prepare ahead of time by shutting down electricity for a few days when the strike hits, so people may be without power for a few days, but it wouldn't destroy infrastructure. You're correct there. It's also worth noting that we've gotten way better at monitoring these things. We would know it's happening far before it struck us, at the very least. With a worldwide blackout, and the effect a CME has on our planet's magnetic field, the northern lights would be seen from everywhere, and be brilliantly beautiful. There's a plant in Australia called the Gympie tree that has hairs all over it that are small enough and are compared to hypodermic needles. And whenever a person touches the plant, these hairs stick into your skin and inject a toxin that causes a pain compared to the affected area being covered in acid and set on fire. And what makes it worse is that the pain lasts months to years. Edit. Change spelling of some words. Pretty sure there was a guy that used it for toilet paper. Yep, and unsurprisingly he shot himself. Edit. Wow, my first award and my highest ranked comment in true Reddit style is about a guy who went through the 3 stages of Gympie grief: shat, shock, shot. Step aside. Bottle cap challenge. I present to you the wiping your ass with millions of toxic needles challenge. That's one way to kill Instagram. What the hell is wrong with Australia? How can a place be so hostile to Homo sapiens? It has a secret it's trying to hide in the outback somewhere. The wondrous smell you get while cutting grass is actually a chemical distress signal. You're smelling the silent screams of your lawn. It makes me sneeze. You can die from Alzheimer's due to the brain forgetting how to swallow or breathe. That's usually how you die from Alzheimer's. Yeah, but a surprising amount of people don't even know you can die from Alzheimer's. You may have heard on several occasions that coal-fired plants release more radiation than nuclear plants. And it's true, but the reason why is a bit disturbing. Nuclear power plants are closed systems, so whatever radiation that comes from it has to punch its way through several tons of steel and concrete. Coal-fired plants are not closed systems. They dig stuff out of the ground and burn it, releasing all waste to the air. Coal goes through very minimal processing before it's burned compared to other sources of fuel. After it is dug, the coal is washed and mostly that gets rid of impurities such as sulfur and rocks of various minerals. However, there always remains a trace of impurities, and those impurities can be made up of naturally occurring radioactive elements, such as radium. The presence of radium in coal is usually in very small trace amounts, but when a coal-fired plant burns 9,000 tons of coal every day, it adds up, which means it releases more radiation than a nuclear power plant, and it's more dangerous because that radiation is coming from particles that are just out there, floating around in the air, which you can inhale BTW. There are a few things that, if you flush down the toilet, will most certainly make it into the hands of the operator at your local water plant. They are called the 3 C's: condoms, cockroaches, and corn. Their hands? You would hope they could invest in some kind of pool skimmer net. Nah, they like raw dogging the poopy water like that. Also so much hair, like hairball boulders, and the condoms tie into one another and not like a rat king. Worked at a wastewater treatment plant for a few months. I wanna place a note into a plastic bag that says thank you for your hard work, and flush it down the toilet for the workers to find. Use a condom instead of a plastic bag. They're not gotta open that up, lol. Oh. What do we have here? Nothing sharp around. I'll have to use my teeth to open this thoughtful gift. Giraffes are considered endangered. Japanese used to use prisoners to test how many bodies their sword was. They would stack prisoners on top of each other, and however many the sword went through was how many bodies the sword was. At the rape of Nanking during the Japanese-Chinese War in 1939, Japanese officers held a contest who could kill the most Chinese civilians with a sword. If any apocalypse happens, anyone who takes medication daily is ducked. My sister has diabetes and requires insulin. This is seriously one of my major fears. You are roughly 30 times more likely to die in a motorcycle accident than car accident. This factors in the odds of being in an accident per mile, and the odds of the accident being a fatality. The outside of your eye prevents your immune system from ever knowing about the inside of your eye. If a puncture allows the two to meet, your immune system may attack and destroy your eye as an invader. Terms for the horrified who cling to their skepticism as a shield against acknowledging this unfun fact to Google. Immune privilege of the eye. You're welcome. And that's why if one eye gets damaged and goes blind, you can lose both eyes. The immune system attacks the other intact eye, causing it to go blind. That's even less fun than the original fact. Today I learned my eyes are like my government. Actually not quite. Your eyes can see things on the left and the right. Hell, my immune system doesn't even realize my brain and spine aren't enemies. Stupid Ms. Wobbly hedgehog syndrome? Armadillos can carry leprosy and can pass to humans just by being in proximity. Dolphins will use decapitated fish heads to masturbate. If you think I am joking, look it up. Dolphins are ducking weird. Yes, I'm king shaming them. If you have a pneumothorax, collapsed lung, even once it's resolved, you can never go scuba diving. Also, there's a 1 in 3 chance it will happen again within 12 months. But yet, I can never, ever, go scuba diving. Gorillas will usually masturbate after battling with others. Victory wank. An elephant can control its beak and kill you with it. Horses can also freely move their beaks, and often swing it around to masturbate. Edit. Okay, y'all grammar Nazis. Fixed its to its. It had been auto-corrected. Edit 2. Masturbate. Is that like moving your ears? It's like a Jedi using the Force. The Force skin? A cat's penis is sharply barbed along its shaft. That's because female cats only ovulate in response to having their vaginas internally stabbed. That sounds horrible and makes me wonder why cat populations are out of control. Cats are sadomasochists. There is such a thing as masturbating too much. Many reported cases of patients coming in with gangrene on their dongs and testes because they jerked it so much they made abrasions and skin tears on their manhoods. Their entire pride would turn dark purple and black. Some have even died of sepsis because of this. So TLDR to my hormonal friends. Don't wank yourself to death. How frequently do you have to jack it for that to happen? I can't say there is a finite number of times you have to jack it to happen. Depends on a variety of factors such as what you are using to wank, fleshlights, clothes, carpet, sandpaper, etc. Obviously more friction roughness of the material equals more damage in a shorter span of time. How long you use such thing to wank? Some people do it for hours on end at once. Collaborates with the above factor. How many times you do it per day. Never letting the skin heal up from your previous endeavor. Overall hygiene. Not saying don't wank. But obviously don't wank with ducking sandpaper. Yes, that has happened before. Sandpaper. Slow down there, Pinocchio. There are more tigers kept inhumanely in the backyards of America than there are tigers left in the wild. 4,000 approx in wild, 6,000 approx in captivity. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more high quality content.